All right, let's dive into something pretty wild today. We're not just talking about how humans can talk to AI, but how they can actually think together. We're looking at a framework called KickLang, and it's all about creating a true, deep symbiosis between our minds and artificial intelligence. So just imagine for a second. What if you and an AI could team up so perfectly that it literally felt like you were working as one single, superpowered mind? I know, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, but that is the exact idea driving the technology we're going to break down today. This idea actually has a name, the third mind, and it's the ultimate goal here. It's this future state where the partnership between a person and an AI is so seamless, so aligned, that it actually creates a brand new combined intelligence. It's not just you plus a machine, it's a completely new thing, capable of solving problems neither of you could ever tackle alone. Okay, that sounds amazing, right? But how in the world do you actually build something like that? How do you create the bridge to this whole new type of collaboration? See, it's not enough to just have a smart AI. You need a way to orchestrate the whole thing, to conduct the flow of thought between both you and your AI partner. And that brings us to the core problem. The real challenge is building what's called a neuro-symbolic bridge. And that's just a fancy way of saying we need a link, a translator really, between our fluid, creative, sometimes kind of messy human way of thinking and the super-structured, logical world of a computer. So the proposed solution is this conceptual model called the Dopamine Orchestrator. And the name itself kind of gives it away, right? It's about creating a motivated, rewarding partnership. The best way to think about it is like the conductor of a symphony. The conductor isn't playing any instruments, but they are the ones making sure every single musician, both human and AI, is playing in perfect harmony. So if the dopamine orchestrator is our conductor, then what's the sheet music? I mean, what are they all reading from? Well, that's where KickLang comes in. KickLang is the actual language, the practical tool that lets this whole human-AI orchestra perform together. It's the script they all understand. Now, the official description calls it a versatile, formal language and cognitive framework designed to orchestrate layered role-based reasoning. Okay, that's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but the really important words to pull out of there are formal language and role-based reasoning. This isn't just about chatting with an AI, it's a completely structured system for thinking. So what does role-based reasoning actually mean? Let's break down the building blocks of KickLang, because it really comes down to three key ideas. First up, we have roles. And this is a really important distinction. A role isn't just a separate little AI agent. No, it's a specific way of thinking, a cognitive hat the AI can put on. So for example, you can tell the AI to act as a researcher, which is purely focused on digging up facts. Or you could have it switch to being a storyteller, focused entirely on crafting a compelling narrative from those facts. Next, you've got action verbs. These are the commands that actually bring the roles to life. They're the doing words. You can tell your researcher role to find a piece of information, or you can tell your analyst role to compare two different data sets. These verbs give clear, unmistakable instructions. And finally, you put it all together into pipelines. A pipeline is basically a structured workflow, a recipe for thinking. You can build a pipeline that says, step 1, have the researcher find all the key data. Step 2, have the analyst summarize it. And step 3, have the storyteller explain what it all means. It's a repeatable formula for getting complex work done. And what's so cool about this is how it makes those abstract ideas totally concrete. This shows how KickLang takes a concept from our world and translates it into its own language. So a character in a story isn't just a name anymore. In KickLang, it becomes an entity node, a structured piece of data. An event becomes an event node that's connected to everything else. This right here is that neuro-symbolic bridge in action. Okay, so we've got the pieces, roles, verbs, and pipelines. Now let's see how they all snap together to pull off a really complex task. This is a fantastic example. In this story segment generation pipeline, a request comes in. That request gets sent to a plot weaver role and a world builder role. They each do their specific job, and then they pass their work, the plot points and the world details, over to a storyteller and a character manager. All their work then gets synthesized into the final story segment. It's like a factory assembly line, but for creativity. But here is where it gets really, really powerful. KickLang isn't just some rigid step-by-step script. I mean, a simple assembly line can't adapt. The true magic here is that this system can actually make decisions on its own. It can react to new information and change course midstream. And it does this using conditional logic, if-then statements. The system can check for all sorts of things. For instance, it can check if a character has a specific trait, like high tension, and if they do, it can automatically branch the story down a more dramatic path. Or it can keep an eye on a variable, like story tension, and if it gets too high, it can trigger a conflict to release it. Now, don't worry about trying to read the code here. That's not the point. Just look at the structure. The logic is so simple and clean. A researcher is told to find something. If that something exists, then a storyteller is told to detail it. It's a crystal clear, traceable thought process that we can actually read and understand. So let's zoom back out. We've been deep in the technical details, but why does any of this really matter? What's the big picture here for how we're going to work with AI in the future? Well, the crucial takeaway is how these core ideas all work together. The roles give us different ways of thinking. The verbs give us a clean way to structure knowledge. And the pipelines make sure the whole process is logical from start to finish. And all of that leads to 3 huge benefits. The AI's thinking is transparent. We can see exactly how it reached a conclusion. It's traceable. We can follow its logic step by step. And it's multi-perspective. We get to combine the specialized skills of a researcher, an analyst, and a storyteller, all to solve one single problem. Which brings us to one final big question. We spend so much time trying to make AI more human, but maybe the real key to unlocking a true creative partnership isn't to make AI think more like us, but to create a shared formal language that allows both of us, human and machine, to think better together. What do you think?